Hey guys! Today we're going to be making some potato noodles with some tomato garlic sauce. First things first, we're going to need some Yukon Gold potatoes. I used about 5 boiled potatoes. Mine weren't too big though. So we're going to get these boiling. And while those are going, we're going to work on our vegetables. You're going to need 2 onions. These are kind of small. You could also just use 1 large onion. And then you're also going to be needing 2 Roma tomatoes, 1 zucchini, and 1 yellow squash. Make sure you clean these. This one's kind of nasty. And let's check on our potatoes. They're boiling. Let's keep those going. Meanwhile, let's chop up our vegetables. So chop the onion and the tomato. I just did like little chunks for this one, just like that. And then you're also going to want to cut the squash about the same size as the tomato. And zucchini, same thing. Now in a pan, you're going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil. And we're going to add in the onions first. Give those a little mix and let them saute for a little bit. Then we're going to add in our tomatoes and squash and zucchini. Alright, add a little bit of water to unstick the pan a little bit, and then we're going to mix those up. And I think our potatoes are ready. Let's check. Yep, looks good. Let's take these off. Alright, for the vegetable seasoning, we're going to add in 1.5 teaspoons of garlic, 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, and then 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. And then we're also going to add some salt and pepper. Go ahead and give that a mix. And last things last, we're going to add in some homemade tomato sauce. I used this for some pizza last week. Dump that in and then just give it a stir. You can also just use canned, but it's completely up to you. I prefer homemade, to be honest. Once that's heated through, go ahead and set it aside. Meanwhile, let's work on our potatoes. So your all potatoes, I did peel them on the side. I forgot to do it earlier. You're going to mash these with a potato masher. And our goal here is to let the heat out. So we're going to set this aside until it cools down a little bit. Alright, a little bit of time later. It's cooled down enough. Let's get started here. So we're going to add in 2 eggs. This is why you had to cool it down, because you want to cook the eggs on accident. A teaspoon of garlic powder, and then a ½ teaspoon of oregano. Give this a mix. There we go. And then also add in 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Oh, and a little bit of pepper too. Alright, mix this up again. And then we're going to add about a cup of flour or more as needed. You just want a nice dough to form. And then you're just going to keep mixing this, adding flour as you need just to get into a nice dough. It should look like this when you're about done. We're going to set this aside and let's flour our surface so we can roll this out a little bit. Well, not really roll out, but you'll see, you'll see. Oh, and quick side note, make sure you boil some water while this is going on. Alright, so this is how we're going to shape our noodles. So we're just going to take our huge dough block we have here. You're going to cut off a piece. It is a little sticky, so make sure you use some flour. And then you're going to cut off a few pieces off the piece you cut off, if that makes sense. And essentially we're just going to form these into little rounds. So I'll show you how to do that right now. Do a piece about this size, and then you're just gonna form it into a round. It's pretty simple. Just, flatten it out a little bit, and I did about, I'd say a ½ inch, and I'd say about 1 inch to 1.5 inches wide for my circles. They look just like this. Repeat with the rest of the dough, and you're gonna add this to that boiling water I was just telling you about. Once they start floating up to the surface, just like that, you're going to take them out. It should only take like 1 to 2 minutes. It's a little hard to grab with these. There we go. Sorry about the steam. You're then going to want to oil these so they don't stick. I do this with all my noodles. Just make sure you do it because it'll stick together if you don't. Alright, let's set up the dish. First, you're going to add a few spoonfuls of sauce. Just to the center. Then we're going to top this with 2 of our noodles. And finally, a little bit more sauce. Alright, and then a little slice of mozzarella cheese. And some additional cheese on top. And we're going to heat this up in the microwave. Just to melt the cheese. There we go, that's a little bit better. And finally, we're going to top this off with some herbs. This is an Italian herb blend. And there we go. I hope you guys enjoy. Here's a little close-up. Hope you guys like this. Thank you so much for watching.